first and foremost, on behalf of all the personnel at Lancaster Station, we'd like to extend our condolences to the family, friends, and co-workers of Reed Keith, who was tragically killed this weekend in one of our incidents. We had two major incidents over the weekend: the robbery and homicide at the Cap's computer store on Friday afternoon, and then shots fired at deputy personnel in the early morning hours on Sunday. And I'd like to also thank the residents and businesses throughout Lancaster who were very understanding and patient during the numerous containments that we had set up throughout the city in search for those suspects during the weekend. I also want to express my gratitude to the numerous citizens who came forward immediately after the robbery on Friday afternoon and gave us some critical information which expedited our identification of the suspect and the ultimate apprehension of that suspect. As a captain of Lancaster Station, my #1 responsibility is to keep the citizens of Lancaster safe. And I take an assault on one as an assault on all. When I took command last year, I committed to you that any time one of our citizens becomes a victim of a violent crime, I would dedicate all the resources at our disposal to apprehend that individual. And that's exactly what we did throughout this weekend. The arrest of Timothy Jonsen, who was responsible for the killing of Mr. Keith, was a tremendous team effort that involved our patrol personnel, our robbery suppression team, our property crimes team, our Operation Safe Streets Bureau, and our Homicide Bureau. Without that collective effort, I highly doubt that suspect would have been taken into custody so quickly after the incident. I want to applaud all the men and women of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department who have worked nonstop since Friday afternoon in the relentless pursuit of these suspects over the past 72 hours. These are 3 ruthless and cold-blooded criminals that are now in custody thanks to their efforts. The professionalism and the tenacity of the deputies that work out here are incredible. Their relentless pursuit reminds us all and every criminal out there that if you commit a crime in the city of Lancaster, we will find you, we will arrest you, and we'll prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law so that you do not wreak havoc on this community again. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce Councilman Marv Crist from the city of Lancaster to say a few words.
This was a horrible event that took place Friday. A person's life was taken, and it was brutal. It was a senseless, brutal act, and the entire city council is totally outraged by what has taken place. But because of the fantastic work by the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department and all your men, Bob, we really appreciate it. But this is what's important, is the signal that it sends. It sends the message that criminals are not welcome in the city of Lancaster. And I've said it before, that if you're stupid enough to create a crime or do a crime in the city of Lancaster, we will hunt you down and put you in jail, just like this individual will be for the rest of his life. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and read a brief statement. It's a brief recap of what occurred. On March 23rd at approximately 4 p.m., deputies from the Lancaster Sheriff Station responded to the Cap's computer store located at 2007 West Avenue K. Upon their arrival, they discovered the victim, Mr. Reed Lewis Keith, lying on the floor and suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. LA County Fire Rescue personnel were summoned to the location. However, Mr. Keith succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. Preliminary reports revealed Mr. Keith was shot and robbed of several laptops by suspect Timothy Gerard Jonsen. Later in the evening, a search warrant was executed at the residence of suspect Jonsen on the 4300 block of Grange Street. While at this location, investigators located several laptops along with the victim's wallet. On March 24th at approximately 7 p.m., sheriff's personnel from the gang unit followed suspect Jonsen from an undisclosed residence in South Los Angeles, and there he was immediately taken into custody without further incident. Mr. Jonsen will be charged with 2 counts of robbery, torture, and special circumstance murder. He is set for arraignment today, and his bail has been set at $1 million. At this point, we know that Mr. Jonsen paroled from state prison in July 2011 for armed robbery. And currently, our homicide personnel are following up on multiple aspects of this case and will continue their investigation accordingly.
Most of you know the details of the shooting at one of our deputies that occurred on the early morning hours of March 25th. It's still under investigation. I wanted the team here today so you could see our robbery suppression team, which rolled out that night. But they're out right now serving additional search warrants at several locations today to further the case. But what I wanted to do here today, in addition to that, is thank the California Highway Patrol, Kern County Sheriffs, Palmdale and Santa Cruz stations for responding to our deputy that was shot at. You know, anytime you get shot at, you're lucky you don't get hit. And we were very fortunate in this case not to have an injured or killed deputy. I don't want to get into too many details any more than you reported in the newspaper, which you did a fantastic job on, because we still have a lot of evidence to gather and things of that nature. But I did want to take this opportunity to tell you that, you know, with Captain Jonsen's approval and support, we're sort of transforming our detective bureau into more of a team concept. We've always had a burglary suppression team for several years now, and it was his idea and fortitude that afforded us to form a robbery suppression team to actively seek out these criminals that commit robberies. And it's not just putting detectives solely in charge of robberies, it's giving them the resources, additional deputies, crime analysts. We're hiring more volunteers to come and assist the detectives in, I don't want to say some of the mundane work, but work that takes a lot of time where the detective can go out and gather the important evidence at the time and have access to, you know, some surveillance and things like that. And that's been huge in catching several of these criminals. One which was one of the crooks that got out of the containment the other day. We're able to put a couple guys on some locations, and the second suspect, you know, came up to the house and we arrested him. We have also formulated a, we don't have an official name for it yet, but, you know, we've been having a huge issue with property crimes as far as vehicle burglaries and theft from vehicles and stuff like that. And Captain Jonsen was able to rearrange some personnel to be able to formulate another team dealing with those issues. And like I said, I don't think many other DBs do that, if any, and we're sort of changing a little bit of the face of traditional detective bureau where you get assigned a bunch of cases a day and you try to follow up, and sometimes that's just not possible to do a thorough job on that. So now they have access to experienced patrol deputies that can go out and do some of the footwork, get videotapes and things like that that are time-consuming but vitally important. And so I actually wanted to thank Captain Jonsen for making my job a little easier and being able to provide those resources. You know, they have all the resources we have at the station, along with the, the AVCFI that we do operations and things like that.
While I was giving my first briefing, I just found out that the suspect's girlfriend, Janae Ingram, who is a resident of Lancaster, was just arrested as well. She was the getaway driver in this incident. And again, I have very preliminary information. I just got that information right now. So as I get it, I will disseminate it just so you will have it.
Okay, in closing, I again just want to emphasize our gratitude to the citizens of Lancaster who have been instrumental in assisting us over the weekend leading to these arrests. We've done tremendous things out here in the last several years in reducing crime, so we have to continue to work together to keep that streak going. So again, thank you. We will be around for a few minutes if there's any additional questions, and that's it. Thank you.
You mentioned citizen involvement, and so can you go over the importance of citizen involvement, and specifically, once again, how does citizens help you in this case?
Oh, absolutely. We had a multitude of tips, witnesses, and people that chose to get involved. And it's very important in police work for us, for citizens to get involved and protect their community as much as we want them protected. And people weren't afraid to step forward and give us just great information that turned out to be very useful and resulted in the apprehension of a very dangerous individual that will not hopefully be on the streets again.